Yo, somebody is about to make bank with what I'm about to show you today. Everyone who's like playing with ChatGPT doesn't really realize that OpenAI has quietly dropped the consistency feature for their image API. You're like, consistency feature, bro? What is that? I don't know if you know, but the problem right now with AI images, whenever you tell it to say, change my outfit or put me like with the Golden Gate Bridge behind me and stuff like that, it will mess up your face. Like it will make me turn into like a whole different character that I did not know existed before. And every image update after that, it'll just kind of make me look very different. But I want to show you some sauce real quick. Katya from the OpenAI team dropped this, and this is from the OpenAI developer team. And what's really crazy is that this dropped on the 16th, and there hasn't been a lot of noise because there's just been so much going on in the AI space. But I've been watching and I was like, yo, I think we can really cook with this, because previously I would have to train these AI models to do all of these crazy tasks that I just don't have time to do. Like, I mean, I could do it, but I'm not like an AI machine learning expert. And I feel like I want to give you that power, because these days now you could just literally just put in some text into a box and we should be able to kind of keep the consistency. So I'll show you a little bit of what this problem looks like. So when she tries to like change the outfit right now, you can see that the face for the lady kind of changes and even some of the features and stuff. And you're like, we can't really have that if you're going to have a production app, right? If you really want to charge money for users, you want to have a lot more consistency behind it. And so there is this new high fidelity like feature that we can pass along. And I'm going to show you how this works as far as an API. So some of the stuff that we're going to be working with is using the actual platform.openai API. So if you've never used this before, I'm going to kind of guide you along with kind of what this interface looks like. This is our first starting ground for making an app and kind of prototyping in this playground, to then bring it over into the next step, which we will be building using Next.js, my favorite databases and everything like that, authentication, Stripe, so we can get all that stuff charged up. This is going to be like a multi-day series where this is Thursday. So probably by the weekend, we'll have like a fully working app that's running on the web, probably in like less than that before the weekend, but it'd be kind of fun to kind of iterate through this with you live. And so in this first hour, we're just going to start digging into this whole API and kind of understanding like the stack. And then we're also going to be using Cursor as well. So Cursor is going to be one of our main editors that we'll be using. I'll be using Claude Code. So you're just going to watch me kind of go through these steps. Since this is a live stream, what I would ask for you is anytime anyone drops a like, I have to do this little like dance thing. So there's been two people who've dropped likes. So I have to do that. So that's kind of fun. Whenever I do that, you'll probably see me. If you ever see me kind of gigging out like this is pretty much me doing it live. So I appreciate everyone who's been able to join on the stream. Big shout outs to our members. Eek as well, and a bunch of other folks who are joining in. Bilal's joining in from the Discord as well. What's poppin', y'all? What's poppin'? So this is crazy. So in order to get to this platform, I dropped some of the stuff in the description. So if you're on YouTube, just hit the description. You'll be able to get to this little platform.openai. And then you just go to the little playground on the side. They actually have a little playground. You go to the dashboard and the playground, and then we go over to images. So this is where we're going to experiment. And I've already uploaded my image. And then in the settings here, what we're going to do is just change the quality, keep it like this, whatever you have, and you go to advanced. And in the advanced section, we're going to change the input fidelity to high. Previously, it was set to low, and that's where you don't get the consistency in the faces. So now we're going to change it to high. And I have a profile picture of myself that's pretty much my profile picture everywhere, especially on X and so forth. And so this is like my main profile. And if you see my profile, I'm basically behind the redwood trees, which is pretty cool. And so let's just go ahead and see if we can kind of change this picture. Let's go to our platform here. Great. So describe the changes that you want to make. And I think I'm just going to say, I want to be behind the Golden, or I want to be in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. So I want to keep the character there, which is me. And I want to be in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. So the Golden Gate Bridge should basically just be behind the person at a distance. And it should just be a nice professional headshot with the bridge in the background and not so distracting. And so let me just put that description. And so I'm just going to go ahead and send it across. This will take a little while to do. So with us interacting with this, it's going to be really important to see. And this is kind of why we have the prototype here first on the playground from platform.openai. com is because we're going to see how the API interacts and we get to see like some of the references and so forth. OpenAI has a cookbook here, which they actually describe everything and it's written in Python. And so I don't know about you, but like I like to ship apps using TypeScript for the front end, TypeScript for the back end and everything like that. I like to use Next.js, React framework and everything that will allow us to just scale this up pretty fast, take paying users, do the Stripe thing. So I'm going to get into that in a little bit here. So just kind of showing you that what that looks like. But that doesn't mean that these language models can figure out what this code is and then kind of bring that into the next part of the sauce here. So in here, there is a thing that they have, like these are all the features that they basically have updated in the API. And this cookbook is showing them off. So not only do we get the image consistency, but then we can better describe things saying, can you remove this house plant? Can you remove these objects and put them back in? And so that's part of the whole image, higher fidelity image stuff. And you can see the consistency of how good this character is to here. That's so cool. And then all it did was just add a soft neon purple line. So like I could literally just do this to my image and we'll see the same result too, right? So why don't we just go back to the playground? That's pretty chill, right? It kind of looks like me, right? Yo, drop a W in the chat if it looks like me. Actually, that's pretty fire, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I would not. I could totally post that on as my profile pic. Yo, did someone say bacon? Yo, bacon in the chat. Drop the bacons. Why not use High Dream or E1.1 or Flux context? Eek, have you had any experience with like image consistency for the faces with those APIs? I don't know about you, but I don't know exactly what settings I have to tweak and what temperature values with those APIs to get like the consistent faces. And so if you're seeing something like very similar or better than this, please let me know because I've experimented a lot with these and it just really kind of pulls my hair out. I've been kind of really like, I was like, okay, I need to check out the new OpenAI thing. Can we actually make some money from this? And so that'll be what's up. Yeah, I'm gonna drop a VV because it kind of looks like you. Yeah, right? It looks fire, right? Dude, this is crazy. So I'm gonna do the same image. I'm gonna go, okay, check this out. Let's go ahead and grab one of my images here. So I'm gonna go to, I think I have it on my desktop, right? So I think it's called Headshot. So what's really cool is Headshot. Oh, I wanna look for all of my, headshots. Okay, cool. Yes. So I have a headshots folder. Perfect. Great. So I'm going to do the same and I'm going to do that add soft neon purple, lime green lighting and glowing backdrop lighting. Just kind of like what we did with what they were talking about here in the high input fidelity blog. I think this is this one. So I should basically look like this chick from here to like here, right? Because this is a pro headshot, which is what I have. And then we should basically kind of look like I'm vibing right now. I look like I'm in a strip club, low key, right? So let's go. Okay, cool. Here we are. So then the setting I'll have to do is this advanced. Okay, cool. So it's still there. Great. So let's go ahead and just get that going there. How long did this take us? Let's see. This took the image input 85. Okay, tokens. So this is kind of basically what it's saying when it's charging. So as far as tokens and costs and stuff, that's actually described here in the API docs. So if we're doing a high quality, this is the number of tokens we're doing. Since I'm doing a square image, it's generally about 4,100 tokens. And so that's kind of what you're looking at for paying for these types of things. Dang, look at those. Damn, that's, wow. Low key looks like photoshopped. Okay, that's cool. I didn't not have to define masking. I didn't have to define anything. I just said whatever I wanted. I don't know if you know how powerful this is because now we could just have people like speak their prompts or actually type it in and then they could just vibe. But what I'm thinking about doing, let's just kind of brainstorm a little bit. I don't know about you, but I get fatigued writing text, right? Because of like, I have had a lot of problems growing up with reading and writing and so forth. Sometimes it's just easier to visualize it, but sometimes it's even more fun if you just randomly generate stuff, right? So what we can do is just come up with some creative scenes, maybe come up with some memes. If y'all know some really good memes, drop them in the chat, and then I want to look through them because I want to see if we can meme-ify people into like these various memes. So I don't know if you know this, because of this image consistency API, we can grab an existing meme and then put this person's picture and put them in the meme like straight up. And I think this is probably what Mr. Beast was using for his thumbnail generator that got taken down because people were like, oh, you're copywriting artwork or whatever. But like, here's the thing. If you're using it for your own stuff, like I am using it, I need thumbnails generated for me on YouTube. You know, I need all kinds of stuff, right? So that's useful. And you can do it in really cool ways that, you know, may not take other people's art, right? Like memes are popular culture. Memes are part of the internet index. People are taking them and adding their own twist to it. And being able to just do this with text without like going into Canva and marking people out and figuring out where these things are or training specific language models for this. Bro, we are cooking. Okay. Sorry. I'm getting too sidetracked right now. I mean, yeah, okay, so here's before, here's after. Before, this is crazy. This is gonna kill so many apps. Before, after, before. Oh man. Oh wow, this is really cool actually. Oh my goodness. Yo, okay. Flux Context does this. Like, is it this good though? Context. Like, is it that good? Because when I played with it, it was low-key trash. Like, I had so many problems with the consistency that it kept like, I have to generate these really long prompts that were very specific for it. And it just was not as consistent as like just these really simple things. Yo, you had me at beer. I mean, for faces and stuff. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. So what's the prompt for this one? Do they have a demo of this? Welcome to Flux. Okay. Yo, if you can drop a link to a demo and some code, I would love to see that. I would love to see if it can actually be on par with this, because maybe for my next live stream, I'll see if I could take a look. And the whole thing of what's really cool about this thing that we're going to go ahead and build is that we should be able to hop out any API. So let's just say OpenAI's API endpoint goes down, right? We don't want that. Our users are paying money for it. So then we should pop out and see if Flux is just as good, right? We can hand it off to that API. So I think that's going to be really important to think about, because you also maybe don't want to be tied to one provider. And if another provider provides just as good consistency, why not, right? It's always good to have like a fallback option. And that's kind of something that's really nice that you can have, especially if you're going to be charged some good money for this. So yeah, this is really, really cool. I like this whole idea of what we're going to do. Generate an avatar of this person. Oh, I like this. Cool. So I like this kind of artwork style. I'm just going to keep experimenting here because this is really fun. But yeah, number one is really fun, but I like to see what they can do with this type of thing. Advanced, okay, let's just do this. Really cool. Only the output quality isn't on par with ChatGPT. Bro, so like, yeah, I think that's the thing. So if you do the output quality, then you have to upsize it later. I don't know. I'm just trying to do everything all in one's turn, if you know what I mean. So yeah, Bacon Overflow, that's not what Levels.io startup about. I don't know if you guys know this, but for some strange reason, Levels.io blocked all these like vibe coders. So apparently I'm one of these vibe coders, Levels.io. So it's like, when I check this profile, it shows that like I'm blocked. And I'm like, bro, like chill. I don't even like, I'm not even like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't really see his posts on my timeline anymore. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like I have to go see this thing here. So yeah, it takes so here's the thing. We also have another problem, is that the fact that I don't know if the problem, but we'll have to kind of they're showing us an animation, which could be really interesting that we have to like maybe build into our app. So these animations take about a minute plus for us to do. And so we have to kind of consider that. Yo, that does not look like, but I guess it's basically a digital art style with flash of colors. Okay. That's cute. That's, yeah. Okay, that definitely looks like me, right? So I could just say, yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah. Peter only yaps these days, so let's go. Right? I thought this guy was a vibe coder. I swear, yeah. Vperk offer unlimited user generations with Flux, and then you can upscale. Bro, I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to do an API call, like one API call with one description, and then we're out, bro. High quality, give that to the customer. Thank you very much. and like boom. So okay, what we've learned so far is that like the image consistency for the OpenAI is really great. Two is that you literally give it a prompt and you get a really high quality output. So whatever the image comes in, we can define these different parameters, like even portraits in a pretty good size, and then you get something back. And the second part of it is like, it seems like some of these other platforms, while you may be able to do some similar types of things, the quality seems to be a lot lower and there's multiple steps involved. So once you get that low quality image, then you'll have to go take it to another program like FreePic or something somebody was saying, and then upscale it up. And then when you upscale it, do you then still keep the face consistency? Because that's the whole problem and the whole point for why OpenAI just silently dropped this. And that's probably why your favorite content creators, no one on YouTube is really talking about it, because maybe they're trying to use this in the background to make their own apps. But we can try to build this with this. So let's go ahead and cook, fam. I think this is gonna be really, really cool. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm digging this whole API. Let's go ahead and see if we can start making something with this. So now that we kind of have a little clear story as far as like, okay, we got this here, we got the images, this is our little playground. We can add a prompt to it. We can edit the prompt. This is cool. We can even download the images and we get a good sense of what we're basically doing. Now I think we have enough sauce to maybe start prompting an AI type of thing to see if we can actually build like this type of app. And so one of my favorite ways to do this is to go to like V0 and just see if I can prototype with like the API. And so this type of interface is very useful because you can add in the actual like API keys for OpenAI and test it here in the browser. The other part of it too is that like we can also add like animations and other really cool things to kind of account for what we're already doing with ChatGPT, right? So I think what I want to do is maybe describe a couple of ideas and see what it can kind of come up with, right? So I'm just going to use V0 right now as a quick prototyping playground and then see if we can graduate from here into the next thing. So there's a template that I like online. It's called the Elite Next Clerk Convex Starter Kit. And so this type of kit is really, really cool because it already has like a landing page built in. It already has like the billing from Clerk. So Clerk has a billing feature that connects to Stripe and we can already get people to subscribe and pay for things. And then the login is already handled by Clerk as well. And then our database is already set up with Convex, which is reactive and super amazing and so forth. This was made by this content creator, our team, Lazarev, sorry. And this guy like only had like maybe 10 followers or something on YouTube, totally slept on, but so much sauce in this video and only has like 300 views. I would definitely recommend you go check it out. He put me on game on this thing called tailarc.com. So tailarc.com are these shad CN blocks, and that's what he used. He literally just went to the blocks section, and then he went to the hero section and just popped in one of these heroes. So these hero sections are already built out for you. You don't have to vibe code this whole thing. You just see the scrolling and this little thing. This is already built in. You can just add this to your app literally in one shot by going to this command. So you just copy this command in your terminal and you put it in and you already have it in your app. Or we can punch this out in V0 and start editing it in V0 as well, just by hitting this little V0 button here. This is crazy stuff. If you just want the full on code, you could just copy this code and put it into your app. I mean, there's so many cool options here. That's just one of them. There's like everything you ever need to make your landing pages, from testimonials, footers, all of this stuff is for free. So that's tailarc.com. Let me just go ahead and put this in the chat so y'all can get on this right now because this sauce is so crazy. Yeah. So this is right here. That's that one right there. These guys are definitely cooking. I had no clue until he put me on. Another one that I wanted to check out too that I haven't got into, that we may get into a little bit later, is called aura.build. So aura.build is basically a place where you can literally just get this design. Whoops. And let's see, did I just totally mess this up all time? Okay. So, oh yeah. Okay. So if I grab this design here, let's just say we wanted this piece on our landing page with this testimonial card and this exact animations. All we have to do is go down here where it says code and just copy this code, like literally copy the whole code. And so this is all written in HTML. And the thing that you can do here is just tell the language model saying, hey, can you make this a React component as part of, this type of thing? So then the language model like Claude Sonnet will rewrite this for you with the animations and everything. So you'll have that in there. So for me, I think this is a really cool place, aura.build, to go and find some design inspiration if you're thinking about how to do those types of things. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get back to Vercel and V0 and see if we can actually try to cook with something. I don't know what the differences are between these types of things as far as the models, but let me just go ahead and read this because I haven't been here for a little while. I mean, I've been here, but I hadn't really, like, these popovers are really new. So everyday task UI generation, and this one says for advanced thinking or reasoning, note this model can be expensive compared to small or medium. So I think what I'm going to do is going to go ahead and do the large one. And the reason why is because I do want to take advantage of this reasoning and thinking, because right now I really don't really know. I have some ideas, but I don't really know what type of UI or interface and stuff that I want, right? So I'm going to go ahead and describe what our problem is and then what our expected outcomes are, and then see how we can get closer to where we want to go. So in essence, we don't necessarily want to reproduce this. We want to do something even more fun so that we can charge users and have a fun experience. So I think what I'll do is I'll focus on a mobile first experience, because that is probably, like, the whole goal here is to make money, right? So if I'm going to make a real app where I'm going to use this API and do some really cool stuff, I want it so that people on TikTok can, like, actually take videos of it and show their friends, and then take videos like, hey, I just did this, and then they can show it on screen. So a lot of people will be using their phone. So I want to focus on mobile first UI, and then the other stuff will come later. I think that's kind of a common mistake when I'm vibe coding, is I will make desktop apps. But then I realized that most people who want to use this are going to go back to their phone anyways. So the phone should be like the first priority here. Thinking out loud here, right? And then I should also talk about that feature for like wanting people to have this like little kind of, I call it like an arc or a little wheel. And so they should be able to just select a slider or select some options or spin a wheel or something, and it'll just have this random generation that we can have. Like, we can just say Meme-ify, right? Like, I'm feeling lucky or something type of thing. And then their image will just be turned into a popular meme, or, you know, who knows? We can just generate several images. So I'm not really sure here, but like, let's just kind of experiment and just see if we can get it in here. I'm going to just, because we're using the large model, I'm just going to try to dump as much as possible in one giant paragraph. And because it sounds like they have a reasoning model, I should be able to dig through and find these different details and try to understand what I'm saying. So we'll test it out. This is my first time trying out the V0 like large model in public like this, with a really long form thing. So, okay. So I think, let me just kind of get it together here. I want to build an AI image app where the user will upload a set of images, either one image or many images, and this will be a mobile friendly app. So at the start, it'll just be like a mobile app about the size of a regular iPhone and so forth, and it should be an extremely intuitive and easy to use interface. Think of the way that Apple thinks about their interfaces and kind of removing as many settings and everything as possible. It should just feel really native and really easy so that the users can feel enticed to want to upload something and do something like that. Maybe at the very beginning, we can start with showing a gallery of an existing images so that users feel inspired. It should feel kind of playful and colorful in that way. And then progress them to like encourage them to go ahead and upload an image. And so once they upload an image, the next step that we want to go ahead and do is probably provide some type of really fun wheel, probably like a little mini arc. And because users are using their thumb when they're using their phone, we should probably provide those settings towards the bottom of the phone. So if they're left-handed or right-handed, it shouldn't matter. They should just be able to spin the arc or spin a dial or something like that to adjust the setting for how they want their image to be displayed. Secondarily, we should also have an option if they want to prompt the image. So in this case, they can just type in a prompt or they can speak a prompt. And so we should be able to provide an interface for that. I don't want all these interfaces to be cluttered. I just want it to be very natural and intuitive here. And again, this is kind of a mobile friendly app. And afterwards, we should just show them the image it generated. We should also have these nice transitions for these images. So as it's waiting, it could take up to a minute or so for an image to be generated. So we should do a fun and friendly animation or show other images in the gallery that users can be inspired by. Maybe their friends are uploading things or whatever. We can kind of show those images while they're waiting and they don't feel like they're, too bored or something like that. So it's like a massive prompt, and I basically just did that whole dictation using Whisperflow. And yeah, we captured a lot of stuff. I think there's some other things that I want to go ahead and see if I can capture as well. And I think that's just going to be around, let's see, we have the images, we have like some settings, not setting, yeah, like some tweaks and stuff like that. We have some stuff that pops over. We have, let's see, I want to build an app. Maybe at the beginning, we'll start the gallery, image option, and then we should fun and friendly animations. And I should probably start to describe what the tech stack is too, so that maybe it has a better way of doing this. So I think, yeah. As far as the API specs, we're going to be using the OpenAI images API. And then I think we can grab some of the spec here. Here. Here's an example notebook. Oh, here we go. Here. And then here is the example cookbook. And then I'm going to copy this just in case. Sometimes what ends up happening is like my prompt may disappear and like we did all this cool work, but then everything's gone. So, okay. So I think I also want to give it, let's see it. Now that I have the API, and I think we're going to be using the GPT image 1. So overview. Okay. So is this the GPT image 1? Okay. And I have to tell it that I'm going to be using that here. So we're going to be using the OpenAI GPT docs image 1 API. Okay. And the part we want to use is the high fidelity, I believe. So in here, advanced input fidelity will be high. Okay. So in here, the key part is that we want the input fidelity to always be high. The key goal of our app is to have the consistency in the images. So one of the features in the input fidelity to always be being set high is the fact that everyone's face will always be the same throughout the image generations. And sometimes if you have two images, for example, a face and then another image of a dog, and you want them to be in the same image, it will actually keep the consistency between the two images. So having that as a parameter is really important. Okay. Attached below are some references to documentation and some examples to show you. And so I think this is a really, really good prompt here to get us started. And I gave it some documentation. I don't think there's anything else in here because this type of thing has a lot of extensive detail. And I'm not sure if V0 has access to the web. And so I'll see. If it doesn't, then I'll just go ahead and copy and paste some of the relevant details from here so that it will have it in its context along with some of these examples in Python. And we could even do, JavaScript. Okay, cool. This is nice. Yeah. Great. So we'll see. And let's go. I'm just going to go. All right, cool. That's a really massive prompt. I'm going to go ahead and put this prompt into the Discord. So that way you guys can literally just take this and cook with me on the Discord. And so I'm going to put this into my members only channel. Let me cook. Here is the prompt. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. It's like a huge wall of text. And yeah, for those who are interested, if you want to join the Discord, by the way, all you have to do is just become a member of my channel. And this is something that I'm currently doing right now because my goal is to stream every single day for the summer. Basically, July 1st to like the end of July, we have like about like 6 to 7 more days left. And from here, once I reach 100 paying members, in order to do that, you just go to youtube.com/@RayFernando1337. And then you just go here and just hit the little join button. And right now the price is just $6.99. And I'm going to just double the price once it gets to 100 members. And we're almost there. We're about almost 75 members and so forth. So appreciate everyone who's been able to join in on the fun and joining the channel. You get, there's a post in there that describes how to get access to the Discord. And that's going to be how you're going to be able to join the Discord. And in the Discord, you're going to meet a bunch of other builders and people who are on the same journey as well and kind of start cooking with me live. So this is pretty cool. All right, so failed to load React Hooks preview image. I wonder what's going on here. Okay, whoa. I've structured the application as a single page that transitions between 4 distinct screens to create seamless app flow like a gallery screen. This is the landing page. It shows grid, inspirational images to spark creativity, a prominent track now. After you upload one or more images, you're taken here. You can see the selected images from the bottom. Generation screen, thinking. Nice. Your final AI image generator would be here. To make it feel like a native mobile app, the entire interface is contained within a phone-like frame. That's great. Which turns your web app into a PWA. This means that you can add it to their home screen for a full screen native experience. Yo, that's pretty fire. V0's cooking. The transitions are made between scenes are handled by frame or motion. That's sweet. All right, so let's fix this issue. So must be served with the valid meme type. I think this is looking like, what is this? Fix with V0. I don't know what this is. Okay, so I'm just gonna let V0 fix itself. I should probably change the model to like medium or something like that. But let's just take a look at the code. So what it wrote for us is just the landing page. You've encountered with this, it seems the environment is having trouble with that specific package. Yeah, I don't know what that package is. React drops down. Okay, so that's just gonna go ahead and update the code and fix that. Let me see if I can see the diff here live. Wow. Oh, it's like, there's not that much to it, really. This is pretty fire. So it's literally just like this CSS file and this page. And so I think this is just a prototype. It doesn't have the API. Oh, okay. This is a really simple UI, like super simple, which I like. So I just select my headshot and then it takes me to this, your images. Like we just made a web app super fast. Describe your vision. Okay. So this is cool. I mean, is this UI going to sell tomorrow? No, I mean, but this is just a very basic general app. Style fidelity, generate. Let me just see what happens. Conjuring your, I like this animation. This is kind of cute. Your creation, start over. Okay. Like, I think we can work with this. You know what I mean? So this is kind of where we have our images here. They can select the different images, describe your vision, fidelity, generate. Like this isn't going to win any awards, by the way. Like this is just a really interesting, I like these little animations though. And the fact that how it kind of transitioned in and to whatever they get. I mean, shoot, this is crazy. I mean, you could ship this to the App Store tomorrow. Wow. Okay. So now we got to hook this up to the real API and stuff like that. Fire. That's crazy. Yo, Mr. Frank, 7 months of memberships. We are cooking now. That's what's up, man. Dude, welcome. What app are you on? So this is actually V0. So the V0 is the one that's actually generating this UI stuff for us with that massive prompt and all those massive requirements that I gave it. Yo, that's crazy. Jenna Husky into princess, magical makeup, haircut, pixie dust like princess. Is this what you're saying? I have no clue what that means, bro. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So man, that's already a pretty cool app. So let's just hook this up to the real API now. I don't think I need this large model for thinking. I'm just going to go ahead and go back to the medium. And then I'm going to say, let's just go ahead and hook it up to the OpenAI endpoint. I don't think it grabbed much of the information that I would talked about for all of this image fidelity things. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I could just turn this into, oh, a view as a markdown. Heck yes. Dude, y'all are cooking. Okay, cool. So I can copy and paste this back into our V0. So this cookbook thing is currently the stuff that I have linked in the description down below. Oh, dang, there's been 18 people. I've been so behind on my like dances. So if anyone who's been slashing a like, I have to like literally dance for you. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. I have to like dance over here on this screen stuff too, because y'all been giving the thumbs up like too crazy. So yeah, okay, that's crazy. All right, so holy smokes. In this thing, if you look at the description below, as soon as you look at the description below, you'll see this URL that says cookbook.openai. And so this website will actually have this thing that says you can open in the GitHub, which is what we were looking at over here. Or you can say view as markdown. So the markdown is going to be really important for us because it literally gets all of this sauce and puts it into our language model. So then I said view as markdown. Okay, now we got that over here. So I'm going to take that markdown stuff and go into V0 and say, let's go ahead and implement the API for OpenAI images API using the AI SDK from Vercel. And so I think that, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think I could just, I don't know. Let's go to using the AI SDK. Okay. So I'm probably going to change this back to this one because I want to make sure with the advanced reasoning that it's more accurate and kind of reading through all those files. I don't know if I have to do that, but we'll see. I'm just going to do that. And then let's go ahead and implement the API for the OpenAI images API using the SDK. And then I'm going to paste the documentation here. So this is like all of that markdown stuff. And then the thing that I mentioned earlier, my prompt is I was wanting to use the GPT one specifically for this image generation. So it may default to something else. So as far as API specs, we're going to be using the OpenAI image GPT. The key part here is this high. Okay, okay, cool. So I think this is kind of where we're doing here. Okay, so let me go ahead and add those in here. Cool. And then I should just say the specs below are in Python, but we have just wanted to give a heads up that the specs below are in Python, but we should be able to convert that to use it within our app because our app is, I don't think I have to explain that, but whatever. It should already know. As a language model, it should already know. So let's go ahead and go. I'm using the large model. Let's cook. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's see if we can actually get some real API sauce. So V0 should then generate and then show us what's going to be available. I'm really curious because there are some other AI app makers out there. People are talking about Lovable. People are also talking about these other apps as well, Bolt. I think there's also another one from GitHub called Spark. And so we'll see how far they get. The reason why I prefer V0 is because with this platform, it's like written in React, right? They have a huge knowledge of ShadCN and that library, which I use extensively. They also have, the AI SDK that they make. So they should be able to use their own AI SDK to write this whole API calling stuff. Everything's trained on it. And then the deploying to Vercel is just like literally one click. The downside that I saw from Microsoft's Spark version, which requires a Copilot. If you already have GitHub Copilot, it's like $39 a month. And so Copilot Plus. So Copilot Plus, I think, gives you access to Sonnet 3.5, not the latest one. And then it has GPT 4.1. So I'm already paying, like $20 a month to Vercel, like the V0 thing. So this is already good at prototyping. I mean, pretty fast. You can kind of see how fast you can prototype here. We were playing around with the API spec earlier with OpenAI, and then now we're kind of in here developing the things. And so now we're seeing it cook. So this actually understood my requests. It says the action will call OpenAI API and then the input fidelity to ensure the consistency across images. Sweet. Awesome. And this is now popping up saying, hey, you're doing an integration. So what I've done is I've created a server action. The new file contains the generate image action function. All the secure server-side logic for calling the OpenAI lives there. Direct OpenAI call. Inside the action, I'm using fetch to make the direct call to OpenAI's edits. This gives us the flexibility to send multiple images files at the quality set to HD, fulfilling your requirement for high input fidelity. And then the generate function here for the form data object. Nice. So all we have to do now is add the OpenAI API key. So we can say, I'm just going to close this. Cool. So I can say add OpenAI API key. So creating project. And so in order for me to get this key, all I have to do now is go ahead and go over here to the platform.openai area where this is kind of where I was playing around with this. And in here, I'm just going to go ahead and create a new project. I'm just going to call this image buzz. Okay. All right, cool. So I should be able to then just go to API keys. And so I'm just going to blur this out because I have no clue what I'm going to go ahead and show on the screen. So I just don't want to blow up my whole account. And then give everyone like God tier access or something like that. So in here, this is kind of what this screen looks like right now. And so it says create an API key to access the OpenAI API. So all we do is hit this create new secret thing. And then when you do that, it's going to pop up a thing here saying, what specifically do you want to do for your test key? So we're going to say v0 prototype. And the project is going to be image buzz. So I just like to put stuff in my project so I know which key is in which project, so that if there's a key that's going crazy, and it's like, hey, what's going on here? Did I just get like in front of Hacker News or something and get a lot of buzz? So that's kind of the way that I'm thinking about this. As far as permissions, I like to do a restricted thing. And I only like to do models and model capabilities. That's pretty much it. So whoever has access to my API key, they should be able to see what models I can use. And then also what model capabilities. I don't expect my key to leak, which is kind of why I'm doing this type of things. I don't have any plans to use the assistance API or the threads API or any of the evals or fine tuning with this specific key, since we're just prototyping with v0. So I just have them all disabled for now. This is just in case the key leaks or something happens, at least somebody could just use these types of things, and that's it. So, all of these can run your bill up pretty high, or if they store files and various things. So we're going to go ahead and do is hit now create secret key. So I'm just going to blur this out real quick, and we should get our secret key here. So our key is currently here. It's highlighted. You can't see that because I've blurred out my entire screen. I'm going to go ahead and hit copy. And then once I do that, I'm going to go into v0. I'm going to hit done here. So that way the keys go away. And you'll just see once it's gone, you can't have access to that key anymore. Technically, it's on my clipboard right now. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is go over to v0. And then over here, I'm just going to say where it says my API key. I'm going to blur this out. I'm going to select it and paste it in here. Then I'm going to hit save. And then YOLO. It says environment key updated or added. And then it should technically rebuild itself. I'm not exactly sure here what's going on. So preview code. Okay, so should I just refresh here now? Don't show again. So I might have to do a rebuild here. And I don't think a rebuild is something that deploy to Vercel, share. Okay, so to configure, complete the next steps. And I could just say, I'm going to move back to the medium and say, I've added the key. Please redeploy. Technically, yeah, let's go here. I have to waste a token, I guess, to do that, but whatever. I don't have, okay, so if you're using v0 preview, the changes should be automatically reflected in your preview environment since the code has just been updated. Push your changes to connect to the GitHub repository. Vercel will automatically trigger new deployment. Oh, okay, cool. All right, let's do that. So connect to a branch. I'm going to do publish, deploy to Vercel. I don't have a branch set up. Fork into a new chat, share. Okay, so it's been a while since I've used their new platform, so this is pretty fun. Let's go ahead and connect to a branch. Select git scope. Okay, repository name. Oh, cool. Images with Ray. All right, I just say images, image buzz. Cool. Create repository. Let's go, fam. I'm behind on my likes right now. I got to catch up. Yo, big shout outs to Frank, who just became a member. You are the real MVP right now. Thank you so much for becoming a member and supporting the channel. This is really, really awesome. With everyone's support, by the way, I've been able to hire an editor. So Dan is actually on his way to start cutting up a lot of my live streams right now. So he's basically doing that as we speak. So I really appreciate everyone's support to even get us this far along. I didn't think it would really happen this fast. I've been streaming every single day since July 1st. And I love that everyone's been coming back to support the channel. Frank, if you just go ahead and go into the post, there's a couple posts back in the members only channel, and you can look through to follow the instructions to get in on the Discord. So definitely appreciate it. You're getting in before the price doubles when I get to 100 members, which is not that far away. We've been able to go from 20 members or less than that to all the way almost to 100 just in this whole month alone. So I appreciate everyone's support who's been able to tune in and kind of get this happening for us here. So I'm going to go ahead and say set to active branch. So what looks like V0 did is that it created a GitHub account, and then we were basically saying let's go ahead and set to the active branch. And theoretically, now that it's connected to my GitHub, it's going to deploy the project out into V0. And what do we have here? It looks like you're running in the browser environment. This is disabled by default. At risk of opposing API secret. If you understand the risks, okay. And so I thought the whole point was to, oh, okay, wow. Whoa, look at all this UI we added. Holy smokes. Cool. Ah, wow. So this is the full app. Amazing, amazing. Okay. So the full app is actually already on here. Holy smokes. Okay. This is disabled if you're at risk of switching credentials. If you understand the risk of communications, you're set dangerously allow. Okay. I thought the key, I'm going to copy this because I thought the key was already in our .env file. So I think I'm a little confused here. So I'm going to go ahead and double check this. So yes, okay. I don't think we checked it in by, if it checked in my key by default, V0, I'm going to be yelling at you. Vercel, I'm going to go over there to San Francisco. I'm going to yell at you guys. Because I swear to God, y'all can't be doing that. Y'all can't be doing that from V0, just checking in keys like that. Like, that's why I'm so confused right now. So let's see what's going on. Because I want to get this app going. So let's go ahead and see if we can figure this out. This is just not really that intuitive, which I find really shocking. And can we get the app? So this is disabled. It looks like you're running a browser-like environment. Yeah. If you understand, let's see, can we just, okay. Dangerously allow browser. Wait, why is it? I guess I should ask the follow-up question. Why are you asking this? Isn't this deployed? And so I think what I should do is just go publish to production, preview, test your branch. I don't want to deploy to production because I don't have authentication set up yet. That's the whole point, you know? I want to just test this here in the browser, and that's not what, it's not really clear to me right now why I can't see the actual app. And it says I am running in a browser-like environment because that's inside of V0. And so I guess they don't want to expose my API key, and that's not really clear how it's being exposed, right? Because I thought it was supposed to be all done here. If you understand the risk and have the appropriate mitigations, you can set to e.g. new OpenAI key true. Huh. Isn't this deployed with V0? I want to test my app. So I'm just going to give it this. This is, yeah. Let's see what's going on. All right, folks. Cool. So in the meantime, what I could possibly do, since I already have the key, I'm just going to clone this app down because I don't know if I have to even keep going in here because I have enough sauce to basically start throwing this app into Cursor right now. It's almost time for me to leave, but I want to make sure that we can at least test the API out to make sure it's currently working. So let's see. It says, okay, the error is because OpenAI client is trying to run in the browser environment, which is not secure. This issue is in our server action. We need to fix the API call approach. That's what I don't understand. Why it did that. You know what I mean? Is it try? Oh, I see. Remove the OpenAI client import, which was causing the browser error since the OpenAI SDK was trying to run client side. why is it trying to run client side? Maybe that's the point where we should have tested it in our own app. See, this is what's really confusing because previously they never used to run the code on the client, but this seems to be new because I thought the whole point of even using V0. So, okay, let me just kind of break this down for y'all so that we can kind of understand what's going on. So previously when you would prototype, it sounds like maybe they never did this before and this is something new. Maybe that's how they're preventing people from being hacked. But whenever you have your keys, you're going to have what they call like a server side call. And that's basically sitting on the cloud. And you're going to have something called a client side. So that's basically your web browser. You don't ever want to have these OpenAI keys sitting in the web browser because somebody can just go in and just grab them. You know, that could be a Chrome plugin. That could be a nefarious app. Someone who has access to your app can say, oh, let me just run some commands and see if I can pull something out in your memory. And so that could be pretty bad, right? Because there's some of these nefarious Chrome plugins you have installed and they're just sniffing for this stuff. And they're like, oh, OpenAI, oh, let me just grab this key really quick. And that's just, you know, stored in your browser and so forth. So a lot of times when you're making apps, what you want to do, especially if you're like have an iPhone app or you have anything else, you want to have it talk to your actual cloud infrastructure and your cloud is making the call on your behalf. And then the cloud will then just send that back down to the device. So that's what they call like the server side. And that's where they have the client side. Previously, when I would prototype apps with V0, it sounds like they may have not done that before, but now they're extremely strict about it. And so it sounds like they're just loosening that. You have to like tell them saying, it's okay, I just want to test it in the browser and check it out. So that just means that this code, what I'm going to try to figure out next is like, is the code that I just generated now with that rule disabled or enabled? And then if we can just verify things work in the browser, this might be a really good time for us to kind of hop off that and start getting into Cursor just so that we can start developing and being like, start to get like production ready. And that would be kind of like phase 2 for this whole thing. So just kind of want to like tell you about what's been going on and kind of where we are at right now, because this is probably sounding very confusing, especially if you're kind of new to coding and you're like, should I even care? It's like, yes, you should care. This is actually security. And it's really important to understand maybe what this means. It's not really clear even to me as an engineer with a lot of experience what's going on. I come from making apps like from the iPhone or like that type of world. And so servers and client side and server side is something that I had to learn in the last couple of years to really truly understand how the Next.js framework works. And I still don't really know, obviously. And I'm still learning on the fly. And the wording is not even really helping me either. But I want to share what I've known so far. And we're just going to try to move forward here as a FYI. So yeah. Okay, so here we are, all this stuff here. And as far as like what the app will look like, I don't want to deploy it yet because that would just expose it to the world, right? Like this whole like key and everything like that I don't want. And so if I go back to my preview, I should be able to say create new. I should be able to select my headshot. And I should be able to say, hey, I want to do something like where make him, oh, actually, I want to just go back to our previous one, see if we can reproduce what we did before. So I'm going to say add a like this type of thing here. Theoretically, our app here should be able to allow us to do it. So generate. So conjuring your masterpiece. Let's see if we can take a look at the console if it shows us anything. Nope, it doesn't show us anything. So we're just going to wait. It possibly could take a minute or two. A good thing comes to those who wait. So basically down below, the user should be able to swipe the images and they should see other users. Oh, so the API works, but it's just not my face or anything like that. Be careful, you're using DALL-E 3. Yeah, I know. That's the whole thing here. Oh man, this is not my vibe right now. I swear. All right. So let's go back to the code. I want to take a look at the code here. This is, yeah. Thank you, Jose, by the way. Yeah, so they switched the image generation API. They changed this whole thing. Like they said, generate images, DALL-E 3 for the model. So we go back to V4. Let's just go back to V4. Let's go back to this code here. Let's go back to actions, and then we'll see how it does it here. So they say use server, and this is calling the OpenAI process. Generate image action is being used. So if there's a key, it's going to say, hey, cool, prompt at least one image required. And then down here in the spec, they basically show us that we're using the edits API. Okay, so the edits endpoint, this is good. And then it doesn't have any other parameters in here as far as like the fidelity being high, right? And then, bro. Come on, V0. Like, I don't know. Okay. I want to put this entire spec into actual Claude code and see if it could just kind of nail it in one shot. But I want to do that for my next live stream because I want to see how good Claude 4 Opus is at this. I have the max plan, so I could just let that thing just go burr for a while. And I don't know if you know this. One of my favorite parts of Claude, like one of the reasons why I use Claude Code versus like Cursor all the time is a couple different reasons. And you'll want these two in your tool belt, by the way. It's not that you choose one over the other or one for this or whatnot. So Cursor or your favorite, Windsurf, whatever the editor that you use, those are going to be really good with that same, Sonnet model. If you have a very specific direction, if you want to say, okay, please help me change this API spec from Dolly, make sure you reference this documentation and then cook, right? That's a very, very small specific change. And we're changing a few parameters. And then it's going to try to think through and see, okay, where else in the code base is this affected? And it's going to feel like magic. It just totally works. Claude Code, the reason why I use it is it not only does it do that, but I do it for something even larger in scope. So I could just say, go ahead and start generating my app. After it does its first generations, it's going to say, wait, I think the user actually wants to make a real app. Let me see what other things I should consider. And then it stops, it evaluates that output, and then starts to think a little bit longer and saying, okay, maybe I should generate some UI. Let me see if I can find anything in the UI. And it goes off and sends a task for this type of thing. So it starts to make this whole task list. Each of those tasks start looking for everything that it needs to generate some more information. It comes back and then evaluates it again. And that evaluation feedback loop just keeps going, what feels like in perpetuity. Eventually it stops after its initial evaluation and then comes back to the user and saying, here's what I've delivered. It's part of the reason why I like Claude Code so much. And it's very different from Cursor because it's less specific, but more like you can actually just kind of tell it something vague or tell it maybe even more specific things with a lot of detail. And itself is going to try to do this whole feedback loop where it does the output, it does an evaluation, it does an output, it does another evaluation. This behavior has been going on with Claude Code for a while, and Cursor and some of these other agentic platforms are starting to catch up to it. And as of last week, when I was playing around with Cursor, they've started to implement this as well. And we started to see this a little bit when we connected Grok 4 inside of Cursor. And then I went back and started using Claude Sonnet as well. And I started to see the same agentic feedback loop of thinking and thinking through things and looking through your files. So if you're using Cursor, it doesn't mean you have to drop everything and go to Claude Code like immediately overnight. Or if you're using Claude Code, it doesn't mean you have to go back and forth. I think each of them are still going to have their own things, but this is just currently my workflow. And I just kind of wanted to give you a heads up on that if you made it this far and kind of what's going on. And we have a lot of work to do here because one is that our spec wasn't really met. So this is like super disappointing from the V0 team because I basically paid quite a bit of money to do this little thing where I said I wanted to use a large image. Look at this. I'm paying $7 for the input and $37.50 for the output per million tokens. That's massive. And it says it has reasoning and it should have grabbed these different things. One of the things I never heard back on is did it actually use the web to go look up any of these specs? To me, it seems like it didn't. And then the second part of it is when I pressed it and I said, hey, I want you to use this spec. Here's the entire markdown documentation. It didn't even follow it. So if I were you, if you were following these exact steps that I did, I would not do it again because it just didn't even it wasted all my money and then did all that thing. And it's like, okay, cool. So now the challenge is, can Claude Code, can Cursor, can some existing platform take this type of thing, take all of my intended input and try to actually make an app meeting my specs? I have a feeling that Claude Code would actually do that because Claude Code has access to the web has this agentic tool calling, has this extra thinking output, and should do those types of things. So I'm going to leave you at that for now, because in tomorrow's live stream, we're going to come back to this. I'm going to see if I can get started on the generation for this so we save some time, and we'll see the output from Claude Code Max right ahead of time. There's also some other agentic models I'm going to go ahead and look into and see which one's better. So in tomorrow's morning's live stream, we'll actually see the beginnings of whichever one won in the background. If you want to even see that one, let me know. I might just do a recording and just leave it up for my members so that they can see this like full-on work through in the background while I'm doing this. And then tomorrow morning when we go live, we'll be doing it from there. So this is part one of this like multi-series thing where we're just trying to take this image API thing, see if we can actually set up like a whole up landing page, authentication, database, and so forth. And this first part is extremely crucial to get right. So then we can move on to the next step, which is going to be charging customers, doing all that really fun stuff. So hopefully by the end of this weekend, we'll have an app that's like that's production ready and people can actually start, paying money for it. So that's kind of where we are with this. And really appreciate everyone who's been able to join on the stream. I'm actually have to head to San Francisco, and hopefully there's enough traffic because my meetings actually starts at 1 o'clock on Montgomery Street. So it's pretty far. And yeah, I appreciate everyone who's been joining in on the streams, like doing this type of thing, because I have to do my little like dance every time we come on live and stuff like that. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. I'm going to catch up with my members stuff here as well, because I know a lot of people have been dropping comments, and I just want to make sure I don't miss my members, because my members have been dropping comments, and I really appreciate you guys for being members. So I was doing basically the same. Be careful. Yeah, we're using Dolly 3. Also, big shout outs to Frank. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Y'all are the real MVPs in this chat right now. I've been also Mr. Frank as well. 7 months, man. You're my longest supporting member, and like there from day one. What's going to be crazy is that once we cross that 100 member threshold and we go to double the price, y'all are going to be like, yo, we got in early. So we're like, everyone who invested early, I appreciate you. My goal is to get to like I already got to my first 10,000 subscribers, which is crazy. We're going to try to hit that 20K subscriber mark. And then I think from there, it should just like start going crazy, like get to 100K, right? Get that nice gold plaque. So that'll complement my little, this thing is so heavy. Like it's super heavy. I know the YouTube plaque is probably super light, but like this thing is just like, it's crazy heavy. So like this thing would complement this guy once we get to that 100K YouTube mark. And then we got to hit the million after that, right? So that's what's up. Everyone's been investing early. And then like you'll see your name drop down and say like, I've been a member with Ray for 1 year. I was there before the first 100K and stuff. So that's really cool. I appreciate that. I get hyped up with this stuff because I don't know. I've always admired people on YouTube and stuff. Alex, what's going on, man? Curious if the high fidelity price as he spins up the rest of the body will keep the consistency. Yeah. I'm really curious too how the API for this will work. Bacon overflow, bro. Oh man, you guys are too much. You guys are too much over here. I'm not even going to show the rest of the chats and stuff. Oh, that dripped out meme with the diamond girls and Rolex. Oh, can we find that? Oh man, okay, I can't get distracted. I have to head to the city right now. So this is my goal with the app. I want to like do some cool meme stuff, right? Yeah, let's see if anyone else has dropped any more chats. What's going on here? Ray, keep making Claude Code vids. Ray, it's big right now. Yeah, I think that's funny. If y'all want to drop some hints, just drop them in the comments, because I look at all my comments and I need to scrub through them and figure out like, what are you struggling with right now when using Claude Code? As an engineer, I could probably figure it out together live, right? So definitely drop it in the comments. And that's what I want to make more videos about. And I'm hoping that when I do some app building like this, that you'll actually see me use Claude Code. I was going to use Claude Code to begin this video, but I just wanted to give V0 a chance again because I haven't used it for a while and I know they got all these API changes. And so we got to see firsthand how it kind of like fumbled the bag for me and how I burned a bunch of money. And, I'm very disappointed in them, but that's okay. I mean, that's what happens when you're making these production apps. Nothing's always ready. And if it is ready, hey, it's cool. We found out something new. We're not going to know until you actually play with this. The Vision Pro of Apple employment history. Let's see. I've been getting some word results. I have not actually. It's been pretty good. So what's the cool Pac-Man thing in the background? Oh, that's a thing called a tidbit or tidbit, TIDBYT. And so this thing cycles between a bunch of different apps and stuff, which is really, really cool. Yeah. And yeah, I think it's my favorite thing. So yeah. Let's see what's going on. Okay, cool. All right, y'all. I gotta head on out. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're wanting to support me and you don't have the $6.99, I totally understand that. What goes a really long way is actually sharing this with a friend. So make sure you share this with a friend. That share button is super important for YouTube's algo. I know it's like they don't really show you the subscribe stuff. You can be subscribed to me. You don't even know if I go live. The only way you know if I go live, if you go to that bell icon and actually select all notifications, then you'll actually see them, which is crazy. And sometimes people get my lives when they're scrolling on the For You. So like these days, I actually encourage people more to share. Like if you share, like that share button for whatever reason is cracked. Also for live streams, like what ends up happening is if there's a lot of engagement during the live stream, like people commenting or like doing the thumbs up and stuff, apparently that also helps. But once the live stream ends, YouTube will look at, you're getting some secret sauce, by the way. This is kind of cool. I like the sitting down thing. It's like we're kind of hanging out as friends. And I really do need to go to the city. But like, I have to tell you this. I have to get this out of my head and I have to tell you, if you're into live streaming right now, one of the craziest hacks, why I spend so much time at the beginning of my video trying to tell you what's going to be happening, is because when this live ends, this video will get pushed out to the rest of the algorithm for everyone else who's a subscriber, and they also test it out with other audiences that aren't my subscribers. And so that first 30 seconds has to be so dialed in and so good that people, if they stay, they'll basically keep showing your video to more people. And so I kind of end up getting two benefits. One is the live stream benefit, but the second part of it is that my whole video as a live stream becomes like ranked with other videos who are also on YouTube. And I don't know if you know this, but my retention rate is actually over 85% for all of my live streams, which is insane. So like 85% of you watch the first like 30 seconds. And some of those people, you may have joined a live stream later, and I don't think they count that, but they count it when it turns into a video, right? So as soon as the live stream ends and it gets sent out to the other audiences, those people see that first 30 seconds and 85% of those people stay. Like the Grok one, they got 30,000 views. That has like a 91% retention rate for the first 30 seconds, which is like Mr. Beast style retention rates without all the crazy editing and like, today, like a train is falling through the tracks and we're going to like try to, it's like, I'm just being chill. So I really appreciate everyone. Like this is really blowing my mind, and it's so encouraging because it's encouraging me to come back on every single day for you guys to show up and like just show you my workflows and solve some cool problems. Cause I'm trying to, use AI to build freedom. And I feel like some of these things like these APIs are totally slept on and no one's really looking at them yet. Or if they are, no one's really talking about them. So more people need to talk about them. And this is the content that I want to see on YouTube. I don't want to be screamed at for like 5 minutes, you are not like some motiversity type of thing. Or, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I'm chilling. This almost feels like a podcast, right? Like we're just chilling on a podcast. But the advantage here is that it's not pre-recorded. It's literally live. And so when you catch me live, there's that more interaction, and I eat this up. Like I love live streams. Plus the quality is like stays super high. We get these nice angles and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm trying to up the production quality. I'm also trying to get one of these $10,000 Apple machines with 512 gigabytes of RAM so I can run some of these local models too. So yeah, a quick inside baseball is that I'm trying to put together like a little sponsorship package, because I know some of these other companies want to get some like little advertising spots down below, like little like real estate that just kind of goes across the bottom of the field or whatever it is, or like an ad read and so forth. And so that's going to be a nice type of thing so that I can actually hire like more editors, people to clip things, do more stuff for my memberships, kind of grow the channel a lot more. And that's going to be really, really awesome, this type of thing. And I'm also like, I feel like if I hit a certain threshold where I can get enough people to sponsor, it looks like I should be able to just turn off the ads, which would be really nice. Someone was telling me is that as soon as you start my live stream, apparently there's ads that show up like right at the start of the live stream or in the middle of the live stream. I'm like, what? Okay, cool. That's crazy. Like, that makes sense. If you have ads enabled, it's going to do that. But if I do get sponsorships, then I can control who comes on to that screen at the bottom, or who comes into my app. And that way you could just watch and all you would do is just hear an ad read or whatever. And so I think that's kind of probably a better experience than just hearing YouTube's like crazy ass ads that no one really watches anyways. And then just have, something that's just really subtle, or like, hey, the next 30 seconds is sponsored by RayTranscribes. If you're interested in checking out a cool app, make sure you go to RayTranscribes.com. This is something how you can get found like the big channels. And now let's get back to our show. It's like super chill, right? So it's like, so I don't know. Hey, Gucci's, how's it going, man? Lovable just raised a ton of money. Yeah, apparently they're able to go from 1 million to 100 million faster than any other company in the history of Silicon Valley, of all of it, AI, of anything apps wise, faster than Cursor. So Cursor went from 0 to 100 mil in 24 months. These guys went from 1 million to 100 million faster than all of them. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, yes, get that 20K box, man. That'd be so cool. That'd be so cool. The Mr. Beast of AI. Yo, y'all lying. What are y'all lying about? What happened to the video of the AI app you were working on? I tried it a few weeks ago, but it errored out. Would love to know what specific, is it this one right here? Because I just rewrote the app and I have a whole thing now. So if you go to RayTranscribes.com, now you should be able to basically start to do a caption. Oh, if you want to try this out, you can just I have a coupon code, Ray Cooks. Put Ray Cooks into the checkout. So when you do a checkout, you can get $15 off. So I'm just going to give you $15 off straight out, so that you can either try the starter thing for free or do the creator beta, which you just pay $5 to get in. So your first month is $5, and then the following month will be just $20. But you get like a crazy amount of minutes basically included, which is super awesome. And so yeah, on my app, you can basically transcribe stuff super ridiculously fast with that coupon code. And now I've just added this whole transcription histories. So you can go back and download your previous transcripts or just see all of the transcripts. I mean, I've been doing all of my live streams since July 1st, and you see how many minutes I've already used. Like, this is like an extreme generous amount of minutes, and this resets every month. So yeah, I'm probably going to go bankrupt now that I've been telling more people about it, but whatever. I think y'all are worth it. So yeah, I can literally grab like a video like this. And then I also have this dictionary that's here as well. So like all of my common terms and things are actually in here. This was done. I got a suggestion from one of my members who said, hey, you should add a dictionary. And it's like, yeah, cool, let's do it. And we did it literally live on one of these live streams. As soon as you hit generate, basically it should start working now. If you're having any problems logging in, definitely let me know. I have a support thing that you can hit me up at. Actually, I think that went away when I vibe coded. I got to add that back in. But yeah, you can hit me up. I'm super easy to get a hold of. And yeah, just like that, you have your whole like timestamps, SRT files. And this is actually how I upload it to YouTube and get like noticed as soon as like trending news comes out, because that's how we get in front of people. So Daniel, thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate everyone. I'll see you tomorrow where we continue this app build out. Nothing's going to stop us. I'm going to get Claude Code up in here. Hopefully Claude Code comes and saves the day, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace out, y'all.